Okay, so one of the things he's talking about is the descent of heavenly spiritual stuff into matter. The same has happened with Sophia, and spiritual content undergoing embodiment, which the alchemists called it coagulata. The alchemists called it coagulatio. Okay, but Edinger says it's covered in Genesis 6, 2, and 4. It says, you ready for this? Everybody has to say that this is adult content. The sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives, and the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Okay. And so this is the Bible's way of saying that we, the fallen angels, or the angels came into men through women, and that we're the incarnations of God, basically. Okay, and that's one of the fundamental things that Jung is saying throughout Answer to Job, is that human beings became the incarnation of God.
So is that the gods, are they associated with Sophia in this case?
No, because this isn't Sophia. This is the fallen angels coming into the daughters of men. Okay. Yeah, the quote is, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives. The sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them.
So this would be pre-Jehovah?
Well, it's pretty early in Genesis. It's in Genesis 6. So, but what it's saying is that the transpersonal, the God image, is being embodied in men because it's incarnating.
It was already in Gnosticism.
Pardon?
It was already in Gnosticism, which preceded it.
Ions?
Yeah.
Well,
those were like
is that in reference to a particular period of time in human evolution?
mm-hmm.
So would that be at the time that the frontal lobes started to develop?
Yeah.
I think it's when the aliens came down.
Well, I mean, you can call it that if you like. Sure. I mean,
Actually, I did, but I won't go into that.
You know, can't prove it by me. I still think there's a shovel message out there. Whatever it is, from a psychological point of view, it's the descent of heavenly spiritual stuff into matter. Okay, and spiritual content is undergoing embodiment. Okay, so something that's metaphysical is becoming physical. No?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
so there's this guy, his name is but he talks about Homo spiritus. So basically like this evolutionary process where you could say the metaphysical is now becoming incarnated.
Exactly.
Physical.
Right,
yeah, but that's
right.
just our way of framing it.
All right, well, so here's what I have in red here, which is Edinger saying all of this has to do with ego development. Earth, body, and matter refers to the ego. It is the ego, therefore, that is the incarnating agent. And it realizes or gives body or real fleshy existence to psychic stuff. It's just abstract until it's lived out concretely. And So I have Milton's description of it, page 75. So, so Milton says, okay, so here's what Enger's saying. Let me read a few lines about when Lucifer rebels against God and is expelled from heaven, just in the same fashion that the image of Satan is expelled from heaven. And this quote, he trusted to have equaled the Most High. If he opposed, and with ambitious aim against the throne and monarchy of God, raised impious war in heaven and battled proud with vain attempt, him the almighty power hurled headlong, flaming from the ethereal sky with hideous ruin and combustion down to bottomless perdition, there to dwell in adamantine chains and penal fire, who durst defy the omnipotent to arms. Okay, so this is Satan falling out of heaven. And then,
Well, I almost got the spirit there.
well, he says that's an image of ego development. But although Christ has complete confidence in his Father and even feels at one with him, he cannot help inserting the cautious petition and warning in the Lord's Prayer, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is asked not to entice us outright into doing evil, but rather to deliver us from it. The possibility that Yahweh, in spite of all the precautionary measures, and in spite of his express intention to become the summum bonum, meaning the greatest good, might yet revert to his former ways, is not so remote that one need not keep one eye open for it. Okay, so the point that's ultimately being made here is that God has two sides, which is what Job realized. Okay, so Job realized that there was a good side of Yahweh and a bad side. And so when the bad side started to act up against Job and do all these nasty things to him, Job was smart enough to realize that he could rely on Job's good side to back off. And we'll talk about that later.
Let me ask you this about ego. In spiritual circles, ego is thought to be, or considered to be, a mechanism that interferes with the soul, okay, itself.
Right.
Is that the same here in this?
Well, here we're
psychological
saying the
definition?
ego is the other end of a spectrum. You know, ego is your conscious mind, self is your unconscious, and the God image, it's the God image archetype.
So it's similar then.
Yeah, but, and so, well, Edinger described it as you're in between inflation, you're in between inflation and alienation, right? And so if you're in alienation, you know, we have lots of people that are on Prozac and things because they're depressed and they're alienated from their lives.
What
And,
does that have to do with ego, though? What do you?
well,
Ego
because,
is the conscious, right? You said.
right, but people that are in depression can't get their ego going, and
Connected to that.
right, and people who are in inflation are protecting the fact that they have a tiny little ego, right? And so the ego is somewhere in between those two, and
Protecting a small ego.
well, alienation, or I'm sorry, inflation is puffing yourself up because you don't have a strong internal self of yourself, or you don't have an internal concept of yourself
there to divide itself.
to protect yourself, and so you pretend that you have all this armor and that you're great in all these ways, and the greater I am, the more protected I am. But the reality is that what's behind that is, it's like the Wizard of Oz. Okay, it is the Wizard of Oz. Okay, it's.
Do not look behind the curtain.
Yeah, don't look behind the curtain, because behind the curtain there's just this fat old little man with a machine that doesn't work well and a patched up balloon, right? but as long as I can express myself and I'm the great
Sound effects.
yeah, sound effects.
Oz.
Yeah, I am Oz. Yeah.